Evan Carter's hands trembled as he clutched the crumpled note, its inked words searing into his mind. Last night was unforgettable. Same time next trip. The glove compartment of his wife Lauren's car, where he'd found it while searching for a spare tire key, now felt like a Pandora's box. Outside, the laughter of their kids, Mia, 9, and Lucas, 6, echoed from the backyard of their Seattle home, a stark contrast to the storm brewing in Evan's chest. It was a crisp Saturday morning in May 2025, and the life he'd built with Lauren, 36, was unraveling. Evan, a 38-year-old freelance graphic designer, had always trusted Lauren implicitly. Married for 12 years, they'd weathered the chaos of parenthood and demanding careers, Lauren as a marketing executive, often jetting off for client meetings. Their cozy craftsman-style house, with its cedar porch and blooming rhododendrons, was a testament to their shared dreams. But the note, scrawled in unfamiliar handwriting, hinted at a secret she'd kept. His heart raced as he replayed their last conversation, her rushed goodbye before a Portland trip, her smile a little too forced. "Why does Mommy always leave?" Mia had asked the night before, clutching her teddy bear as Evan tucked her in. The question, innocent yet piercing, lingered as he stared at the note. He wanted to dismiss it as a misunderstanding, but doubt gnawed at him. Lauren's recent late-night texts, her guarded phone, the way she dodged questions about her trips, it all added up. He slipped the note into his pocket, his resolve hardening. He needed answers. Back inside, Evan powered on Lauren's tablet, left on the kitchen counter. She'd always been careless with her devices, a habit he'd once found endearing. Now it was his lifeline. He navigated to her email, guilt prickling as he typed her password, Mia Lucas 2016. A search for Portland revealed a buried email from a hotel chain confirming a 2-night stay at a boutique during her last trip. The reservation was for a romantic getaway package, complete with champagne and a late checkout. Evan's stomach churned. They hadn't taken a romantic trip in years. He scrolled further, finding a receipt for a $1,200 bracelet from a Portland jeweler dated the same weekend. Lauren hadn't mentioned any purchase and no new jewelry had appeared on her wrist. Was it a gift for someone else? The thought made his throat tighten. He recalled their 10th anniversary 3 years ago when Lauren's laughter had filled a candlelit restaurant as he gifted her a simple necklace. That woman felt like a stranger now. Evan's fingers hovered over the tablet, tempted to confront Lauren when she returned that evening. But he stopped himself. Rashness could tip her off, letting her spin a lie. He needed proof, undeniable, airtight evidence. His kids deserved a father who acted with clarity, not rage. He closed the tablet, slipped on his wedding ring, a habit when he felt unsteady, and headed to the backyard. "Dad, push me higher." Lucas called from the swing. Evan forced a smile, his mind elsewhere. Mia, sketching flowers in her notebook, looked up. "Is Mommy coming home soon?" she asked, her brown eyes searching his. Evan's chest ached. "Tonight, sweetheart," he said, ruffling her hair. He couldn't let their world collapse without a fight. That afternoon, while the kids watched a cartoon, Evan retreated to his home office. He Googled private investigator Seattle, landing on Sarah Mitchell, a former cop with glowing reviews. Her website promised discretion and results. Evan dialed her number, his voice steady despite his racing pulse. "I think my wife is cheating," he said, the words tasting bitter. Sarah's tone was calm, professional. "I've seen this before, Mr. Carter. Can you meet Monday to discuss details?" Evan agreed, feeling a mix of relief and dread. As dusk settled, Lauren's SUV pulled into the driveway. Evan watched from the kitchen window, noting her quick glance at her phone before she stepped out, her auburn hair catching the porch light. She looked radiant, confident, not like a woman hiding a secret. Doubt crept in. Could the note be a mistake? A client's misplaced flotation? But the hotel email, the bracelet, they weren't accidents. "Daddy, Mommy's home," Lucas shouted, barreling toward the door. Evan joined them, pasting on a smile as Lauren swept the kids into a hug. "Missed you guys," she said, her voice warm. Her eyes met Evan's, and for a moment he saw the woman he'd vowed to love forever. "Rough trip?" he asked, keeping his tone light. Lauren shrugged, setting down her bag. "Same old client nonsense. Glad to be home." Her casual eye stung, but Evan nodded, his plan taking shape. At dinner, as Mia chattered about school, Evan studied Lauren. She laughed at Lucas's silly jokes, but her glances at her phone were frequent, her fingers twitching. "Big meeting coming up?" Evan asked, sipping his water. Lauren's smile faltered. "Just San Francisco next week. Nothing special." Her voice was too smooth, practiced. Evan's grip on his fork tightened, but he let it pass. He'd wait for Sarah's evidence before showing his hand. That night, as Lauren showered, Evan slipped into their bedroom. Her suitcase sat by the closet, unzipped. He hesitated, then lifted the lid. Beneath her blouses lay a black cocktail dress, slinky, unlike her usual business attire, and a velvet jewelry box. His pulse quickened as he opened it, revealing a delicate silver bracelet, its price tag still attached, $1,200. The same one from Portland. No note, no explanation. He closed the box, his anger simmering. Who was it for? Lauren emerged, towel-wrapped, her expression softening as she saw him. You okay, hon? She asked, touching his arm. Evan nodded, forcing a smile. Just tired. He couldn't confront her yet, not without proof that would hold in court, protect his kids, and expose her lies. As they climbed into bed, Lauren curled against him, her warmth a cruel reminder of what he might lose. But Evan lay awake, the note's words looping in his mind. Same time next trip? Monday morning, after dropping Mia and Lucas at school, Evan met Sarah at a quiet coffee shop. She was no nonsense, her gray eyes sharp. Based on what you've told me, she said, reviewing his notes, I'll tell Lauren in San Francisco. Hotel lobbies, restaurants, any public spaces. I'll get photos, maybe texts if we can access her phone legally. It'll cost $3,000 up front. Evan winced but agreed, handing over his credit card. Just get me the truth, he said. Driving home, Evan felt a strange calm. The note, the receipt, the bracelet, they were pieces of a puzzle he was determined to solve. He glanced at his wedding ring, its weight a reminder of vows now broken. Mia's voice echoed, why does mommy always leave? For her and Lucas, he'd uncover Lauren's secrets, no matter the cost. As Seattle's skyline faded behind him, Evan knew this was just the beginning, a fight for his family, his truth, and his future. Evan Carter's pulse quickened as he opened the email from Sarah Mitchell, the private investigator he'd hired to tail his wife, Lauren, in San Francisco. It was Wednesday evening, 3 days into Lauren's client meeting trip, and the subject line read, Preliminary Findings, Urgent. The Seattle rain pattered against his office window, a fitting backdrop to the storm brewing inside him. Mia and Lucas were downstairs, engrossed in a board game, their laughter a painful reminder of what was at stake. Evan took a deep breath and clicked open the message, bracing for the truth. Sarah's report was clinical, precise. She tracked Lauren from her hotel, the upscale Fairmont, to a trendy Mission District restaurant Monday night. Attached were photos, Lauren, radiant in a black cocktail dress, laughing across a candlelit table from a man in a tailored suit. Her left hand resting on his arm was bare, no wedding ring. Evan's chest tightened. The next image was worse, the pair exiting the restaurant, her arm looped through his, heading toward his hotel. Sarah's notes confirmed they entered his room at 10:47 p.m. and didn't emerge until 2:13 a.m. Evan scrolled to a third photo, a grainy shot from the hotel bar Tuesday evening. Lauren, in a different dress, sipped a martini with another man, her smile coy. Sarah's team had accessed public Wi-Fi data, legally pulling snippets of Lauren's texts from an unsecured app. One message, sent to an unknown number, read, Can't wait for tomorrow. You make these trips worth it. Evan's vision blurred, anger and betrayal warring within him. He remembered their 10th anniversary, Lauren's laughter as they danced under the stars. Was that all a lie? He closed his laptop, the images burned into his mind. Part of him wanted to call Lauren, demand answers, but he knew better. She'd lie, spin a story, and slip away. He needed more evidence that would hold up in court, protect Mia and Lucas, and ensure Lauren faced consequences. Sarah's email promised a full report by Friday, including potential phone data if she could access it legally. Evan replied, urging her to dig deeper, follow her Thursday night. I need everything. The next morning, as Evan poured cereal for the kids, Mia's voice broke his thoughts. Dad, is mommy okay? She didn't call last night. Her brown eyes, so like Lauren's, searched his face. Evan forced a smile, his heart aching. She's just busy, sweetheart. She'll call soon. Lucas, oblivious, chattered about his soccer game, but Mia's frown lingered. Evan vowed to shield them from the fallout no matter what Sarah uncovered. At noon, Evan met his friend Jake, a family lawyer, at a downtown cafe. Jake, a burly ex-Marine with a knack for cutting through bullshit, listened as Evan recounted the note, the hotel email, and Sarah's photos. You're doing this right, Jake said, sipping his coffee. No outbursts, no accusations. Keep gathering evidence. Washington's a no-fault state. But infidelity can sway custody if you prove she's unstable or absent. Focus on the kids. Courts prioritize their stability. Evan nodded, grateful for the clarity. What about the house, our savings? He asked. Jake leaned forward. You'll split assets 50-50, but you can push for primary custody since you're the main caregiver. Start documenting. Every time you're with the kids. Every trip she takes. Back home, Evan began a log: school drop-offs, soccer practices, bedtime stories. Each entry felt like armor, building his case to keep Mia and Lucas safe. But doubt crept in. What if Lauren fought dirty? She was charming, persuasive, a marketing exec who could sell ice to a glacier. He imagined her spinning a sob story in court, blaming him for her absences. The thought fueled his resolve. He wouldn't let her rewrite the truth. Thursday night, Lauren called, her voice bubbly over FaceTime. "Miss you guys," she said, blowing kisses to the kids. Evan watched her, searching for cracks in her facade. Was she in her hotel room or somewhere else? "How's San Francisco?" he asked, his tone neutral. Lauren's smile flickered. "Oh, meetings all day. Exhausting." She changed the subject, asking about Mia's art project. Evan played along, but his mind raced. Sarah was watching her right now, every move, every lie. By Friday morning, Evan's nerves were frayed. He dropped the kids at school, then checked his email. Sarah's full report had arrived, a 12-page PDF with photos, timelines, and text logs. Lauren's Thursday night mirrored the others. Dinner with the first man from Monday, followed by a late-night visit to his hotel room. Sarah had identified him as Nathan Reed, a 40-year-old tech consultant from San Francisco, married with one child. A second man, seen Tuesday, was a client from Lauren's firm, unnamed but linked to her via texts. One message from Lauren to Nathan read, "I'll be back next month. Don't tell anyone." The report included a bombshell. Sarah's team had recorded Lauren at a bar, laughing as she told Nathan, "My husband's clueless. He thinks I'm working late." Evan's blood boiled. He pictured Mia's worried face, Lucas's trusting smile. Lauren wasn't just cheating. She was mocking their family. He forwarded the report to Jake, adding, "I want to move forward. Divorce, custody, everything." That evening, Lauren's SUV rolled into the driveway. Evan watched from the living room, his wedding ring heavy on his finger. She bounded in, hugging the kids, her energy almost convincing. "How's my favorite team?" she teased, ruffling Lucas's hair. Evan met her eyes, his voice calm but edged. "Long trip. Anything exciting?" Lauren's smile tightened, a flash of unease crossing her face. "Just work," she said, turning to unpack. Evan's jaw clenched. She was lying to his face, but he wouldn't tip his hand. Not yet. At dinner, he tested her. "San Francisco sounds fun. Meet any interesting people?" he asked, slicing chicken. Lauren's fork paused midair. "Just clients," she said, too quickly. "Boring stuff." Mia chimed in, "Mommy, did you see the Golden Gate Bridge?" Lauren forced a laugh. "Not this time, sweetie." Evan watched her squirm, a dark satisfaction rising. He'd caught her off guard, planting seeds of doubt. She knew he was watching. Later, as the kids slept, Evan sat in his office, rereading Sarah's report. The photos, Lauren's bare hand, her coy smile, felt like daggers. But another image haunted him. Their wedding day, Lauren's vows promising forever. He'd believed her then. Now he faced a choice: confront her and risk her lies, or bide his time, building an airtight case. Jake's words echoed, "Focus on the kids." Evan slipped off his ring, placing it on his desk. It wasn't surrender, it was resolve. Lauren's voice broke the silence, soft from the doorway. "You're up late. Everything okay?" Evan turned, his face a mask. "Just work," he said, mirroring her lie. Her eyes lingered, searching, but she nodded and left. Evan's heart pounded. She suspected something, but he was one step ahead. Sarah's evidence was his weapon, and he'd wield it carefully, lawfully, to protect his family. As the rain fell harder, Evan knew the real battle was coming, and he was ready. Evan Carter's fingers traced the edge of his wedding ring, now resting in his desk drawer, as he sat in his Seattle home office. It was Saturday night, a week after Lauren's return from San Francisco, and the weight of her betrayal pressed harder with each passing hour. Sarah Mitchell's report, photos of Lauren with another man, her bare hand, her damning texts, lay printed on his desk, a ticking bomb. Mia and Lucas slept upstairs. Their innocent snores a reminder of why Evan hadn't confronted Lauren yet. He needed to protect them, and that meant playing the long game. The past week had been a masterclass in restraint. Evan kept up the facade of normalcy: school drop-offs, soccer practices, family dinners, while watching Lauren like a hawk. Her tells were subtle but growing: a nervous glance when her phone buzzed, a forced laugh when he asked about her day. She sensed his distance, but Evan gave her no opening to suspect the depth of his knowledge. Sarah's evidence was his ace, and he'd play it when the moment was right. Monday morning, Evan met Jake, his lawyer friend, at a quiet Ballard diner. The clatter of plates masked their conversation as Evan slid Sarah's report across the table. Jake's eyes narrowed as he flipped through the photos and texts. "This is gold," he said, tapping the page. "Infidelity won't change asset division in Washington, but it strengthens your custody case. You're the stable parent, courts will see that." Evan leaned forward, his voice low. "I want primary custody. Mia and Lucas can't lose their home, their routine." Jake nodded. "We'll file for divorce citing irreconcilable differences, but these," he gestured to the photos, "will show she's prioritizing her extracurriculars over the kids. I'll draft the papers this week." Evan's next stop was Sarah's office. The private investigator greeted him with a firm handshake, her gray eyes sharp. "Lauren's back in Seattle, but I dug into her past trips," Sarah said, sliding a folder across her desk. 3 more hotels, same pattern, romantic packages, late-night bar visits. "I've got names of 2 other men, both clients. She's careful but not careful enough." Evan's jaw tightened as he scanned the list: Chicago, Denver, Austin. Lauren had been living a double life for months, maybe years. "Can you testify if it goes to court?" he asked. Sarah nodded. "With this evidence, you won't need me. It's airtight." Back home, Evan's resolve wavered. He pictured Mia's question, "Why does mommy always leave?" and Lucas's trusting grin. Could he forgive Lauren for their sake? The thought of her laughter on their wedding day, her vows echoing in a sunlit chapel, clawed at him. But then he saw the photos again, her coy smile, her bare hand on another man's arm. Forgiveness wasn't an option, trust was ash, and his kids deserved better. He slipped the ring back into the drawer, its absence a quiet vow to move forward. Tuesday night, Evan set his trap. At dinner, with Mia and Lucas chattering about school, he dropped a calculated hint. "Heard San Francisco's got great nightlife," he said, slicing his steak, his eyes on Lauren. "Meet anyone fun on your trip?" Lauren's fork froze midair, her smile brittle. "Just clients," she said, her voice a shade too bright. "You know how boring those trips are." Mia piped up, "Did you see any cool bars, Mommy?" Lauren's laugh was strained. "Not really, sweetie. Just work." Evan's pulse quickened, she was squirming, and he relished it. He pressed further, his tone casual. "Some secrets don't stay hidden, you know. People talk." Lauren's eyes flicked to his, a flash of panic crossing her face before she masked it with a sip of wine. Later, as they cleared the table, Lauren's phone buzzed. She grabbed it, angling the screen away, but Evan caught a glimpse of the name, Nathan. The man from San Francisco. His blood boiled, but he kept his cool, stacking plates. "Everything okay?" he asked, his voice neutral. "Just work," she muttered, typing furiously. Evan turned away, hiding a grim smile. She was unraveling, and he hadn't even shown his cards. Wednesday, Jay called with news. "Papers are ready," he said. "We can serve them whenever you want." "Where's she most vulnerable?" Evan thought of Lauren's sleek marketing firm, her polished image among colleagues. A public serving would sting, but Jake advised caution. "Private safer, less chance she'll spin it as you humiliating her." Evan agreed, choosing a quieter blow. The papers would be delivered to her office Friday, in a sealed envelope by Jake's courier. It was lawful, restrained, but it would hit hard. Thursday night, Lauren's paranoia peaked. She cornered Evan in the kitchen, her voice low, eyes blazing. "Are you spying on me?" she hissed, her arms crossed. "You've been acting weird asking all these questions." Evan's heart raced, but he kept his face blank. "Spying? I'm just making conversation, Lauren. Something on your mind?" Her gaze faltered, uncertainty creeping in. "No," she said, softer now. "Just stressed." She turned away, but Evan saw the fear in her eyes. She knew he was onto her, but not how much. He pushed the advantage. "If you're stressed, maybe cut back on trips," he said, wiping a counter. "The kids miss you." Mia asked why you're always gone. Lauren flinched, guilt flickering across her face. "I'm doing this for us," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. Evan nodded, letting the silence hang. He'd planted doubt, and it was working. Friday morning, Evan drove the kids to school, his stomach knotted. The courier was set to deliver the papers at 11 a.m. During Lauren's team meeting, He imagined her opening the envelope, her polished facade cracking as she read petition for dissolution of marriage. Part of him dreaded her reaction, tears, denial, a plea for forgiveness. But another part, hardened by her lies, craved justice. He'd given her 12 years, his trust, his love. She'd mocked it all. At 10:30, his phone buzzed, a text from Lauren, "Can we talk tonight? I'm sorry if I've been distant." Evan stared at the words, a mix of anger and pity rising. Was she sensing the end, trying to preempt it? He didn't reply. Let her sweat. The trap was set and he wouldn't waver. As he pulled into the driveway, Evan's thoughts turned to Mia and Lucas. Their world would change, but he'd shield them counseling, stability, love. He glanced at the empty spot where his ring once sat, a symbol of his resolve. Lauren's lies had broken their family, but Evan was rebuilding it brick by brick. The courier was on the move, and with every step, Evan's plan tightened around her. The reckoning was hours away, and he was ready. Evan Carter sat in his Seattle home office, the clock ticking past 11 a.m. on Friday, May 16, 2025. His heart thudded as he imagined the scene unfolding downtown, a courier slipping into Lauren's sleek marketing firm, a sealed envelope in hand marked confidential. Inside, divorce papers that would end their 12-year marriage, backed by damning evidence of her infidelity. Mia and Lucas, his kids, were at school, oblivious to the storm about to break. Evan's wedding ring, now a relic in his desk drawer, no longer anchored him. His focus was razor-sharp: protect his children, secure their future, and make Lauren face the consequences of her lies. The past week had been a tightrope walk. Evan had baited Lauren with subtle jabs, some secrets don't stay hidden, watching her squirm at dinner, her paranoia spiking when she accused him of spying. Sarah Mitchell's private investigator report with photos of Lauren's hotel trysts and flirty texts was his trump card. Jake, his lawyer, had crafted an airtight case, primary custody for Evan, citing Lauren's frequent absences and reckless behavior. The papers, delivered privately to avoid claims of public shaming, would hit Lauren like a silent thunderbolt. At 11:14 a.m., Evan's phone buzzed, a text from Jake, delivered. "She's shaken. Call me." Evan exhaled, a mix of relief and dread washing over him. He pictured Lauren in her glass-walled office, her colleagues' chatter fading as she opened the envelope. Her face, always so composed, would drain of color as she read petition for dissolution of marriage, the attached photos, her with Nathan Reed, ringless, laughing in a San Francisco bar, sealing her fate. Evan felt no triumph, only resolve. This was for Mia and Lucas. By noon, Lauren called. Her voice, trembling over the line, was barely a whisper. "Evan, please, can we talk?" Evan's grip tightened on the phone. He'd expected denial, maybe anger, but her plea caught him off guard. "Not now," he said, his tone even. "Sign the papers, Lauren. Then we'll talk with my lawyer." A choked sob broke through before the line went dead. Evan stared at the phone, his chest heavy. Part of him remembered her laughter, their wedding vows under a summer sky. But that Lauren was gone, replaced by a stranger who'd mocked their family. He drove to Jake's office that afternoon, the Seattle skyline gray under spring clouds. Jake, his burly frame filling a leather chair, slid a folder across his desk. "She's reeling," he said. Her assistant called. Lauren left the office after the delivery, said she was sick. "My guess? She's panicking." Evan nodded, scanning the custody draft. It prioritized Mia and Lucas's stability, their home, school, and Evan as primary caregiver. Lauren would get visitation, but her erratic travel and infidelity tipped the scales against her. "What if she fights?" Evan asked, his voice low. Jake leaned back. "She can try, but she's got no leverage. Those photos, the texts, her own words, 'My husband's clueless,' paint her as neglectful at best. Courts don't care about her charm." Evan's jaw clenched. He'd seen Lauren sway clients with a smile, but no charm could erase Sarah's evidence. "And the assets?" he asked. Jake shrugged. 50-50 split, standard in Washington. You keep the house till the kids are 18, then sell and split the proceeds. She'll owe child support since you're primary. Evan left Jake's office with a plan: keep the kids' routine steady, shield them from the fallout. But doubt nodded him. Would Lauren lash out, spin a sob story, or worse, try to manipulate Mia and Lucas? He recalled her desperate text from that morning, "Can we talk tonight?" "I'm sorry," and wondered if it was genuine or another ploy. He wouldn't risk his kids' hearts on her promises. That evening, Lauren showed up at the house unannounced. Evan was helping Lucas with homework when the doorbell rang. Mia, sketching at the kitchen table, perked up. "Is that Mommy?" Evan's stomach knotted as he opened the door. Lauren stood there, eyes red-rimmed, her usual polish replaced by a rumpled blouse and trembling hands. "Evan, please," she said, her voice cracking. "I messed up. It was a mistake. A client, Nathan, pressured me. I didn't mean for it to happen. Evan's blood surged, Sarah's photos flashing in his mind, Lauren's coy smile, her hand on Nathan's arm, her text, "You make these trips worth it." "Pressured?" he said, his voice icy. "You laughed in his arms, Lauren. You lied to our kids' faces." Her face crumpled, tears spilling. "I was stupid, okay? I got caught up in the attention. But I love you, the kids, I'll quit the trips, get help, anything." Mia's voice piped up from the kitchen. "Mommy?" Lauren's gaze darted past Evan, desperate. Evan stepped outside, closing the door to shield the kids. "You don't get to do this," he said, his words measured. "Not after months of lies. Sign the papers or we go to court. You'll lose more than your reputation." Lauren sobbed, clutching her purse. "I'm their mother, Evan. You can't take them from me." His eyes hardened. "You did that yourself. Every time you chose a hotel room over them." She staggered back as if slapped, then turned and fled to her car. Evan returned inside, forcing a smile for Mia and Lucas. "Mommy's tired," he said, ruffling Lucas's hair. "She'll see you soon." Mia's brow furrowed, but she nodded, returning to her sketch. Evan's heart ached. Mia was too perceptive, sensing the fracture. He'd get them counseling, keep their world steady. But Lauren's visit lit a fire in him. She'd fight, and he'd be ready. Saturday, Jake called with an update. Lauren's lawyer reached out, he said. "She's not signing yet, wants mediation. Claims she was coerced into the affair." Evan scoffed, pacing his office. "Coerced? She planned those trips, Jake. She mocked me in texts." Jake's voice was calm. "She's grasping. Mediation's a stall tactic. We push forward, file the petition Monday." Her lawyers got nothing against Sarah's evidence. Evan agreed, his resolve ironclad. Lauren's lies wouldn't sway a judge. By Sunday, Lauren's absence weighed on the kids. At breakfast, Lucas asked, "Is Mommy mad at us?" Evan's throat tightened. "No, buddy," he said, kneeling beside him. "She's just working through some stuff. You've got me always." Mia, quieter than usual, hugged him later, whispering, "Don't leave, Dad." Evan held her close. "Never," he promised. Their trust fueled him. Lauren's betrayal wouldn't break their bond. Evan spent the day prepping for the fight ahead. He backed up Sarah's report on a secure drive, logged more entries of his time with the kids, and emailed a counselor Jake recommended. Lauren's plea, "It was a mistake," echoed, but he shut it out. Her tears were too late, her excuses hollow. He glanced at the empty spot where his ring once sat, a symbol of his new path. The reckoning had begun, and Evan was one step from justice. Lauren's next move would test his strength, but for Mia and Lucas, he'd face anything. Evan Carter stood in the kitchen of his Seattle home, the morning sun filtering through the cedar porch, casting warm streaks across the counter. It was November 2025, 6 months since the divorce papers had landed in Lauren's hands, shattering her facade of lies. The craftsman-style house, once a battleground of secrets, now hummed with quiet stability. Mia, 9, and Lucas, 6, laughed over pancakes, their chatter a balm to Evan's heart. The weight of Lauren's betrayal, her affairs, her mocking texts, her bare ring finger in damning photos had nearly broken him. But today, Evan felt lighter, his wedding ring long gone from his finger, replaced by a resolve to rebuild for his kids. This was their new dawn, hard-won through lawful justice and unyielding love. The months since the reckoning had been a whirlwind. Lauren's desperate plea at their doorstep, "It was a mistake, a client pressured me," had crumbled against Sarah Mitchell's ironclad evidence, photos of her with Nathan Reed, flirty texts, and a recorded boast that Evan was clueless. Her attempt at mediation, claiming coercion, fizzled when Jake, Evan's lawyer, presented the full dossier in court. The judge, a stern woman with no patience for theatrics, granted Evan primary custody, citing Lauren's pattern of neglect from her frequent, deceptive trips. Lauren got visitation rights every other weekend, supervised until she completed a parenting course. The house stayed with Evan until the kids turned 18, assets split 50-50, and Lauren was ordered to pay child support. Lauren's fall was swift. Her marketing firm, embarrassed by whispers of her conduct, sidelined her to a desk job. Colleagues who once admired her polish now avoided her gaze. She moved to a modest apartment across town, her charm no match for the truth. Evan heard through Jake that she'd started therapy, grappling with the impulsiveness that fueled her affairs. Part of him pitied her, remembering the woman who'd danced with him under starlight on their wedding day. But pity didn't erase betrayal. She'd chosen strangers over Mia and Lucas, and Evan would never trust her again. The kids, resilient but scarred, adjusted with help from a counselor named Dr. Ellis. Mia, perceptive beyond her years, had sensed the fracture early, her question, "Why does Mommy always leave?" haunting Evan. Lucas, more trusting, struggled with Lauren's reduced presence, asking at bedtime, "When's mommy coming back?" Evan answered honestly, gently, "She's figuring things out, but I'm here forever." Dr. Ellis taught them to name their feelings, and slowly their smiles returned. Mia's sketches, once dark with jagged lines, now bloomed with color. Lucas's soccer games became a weekly joy, Evan cheering from the sidelines, his heart swelling at their strength. Evan's own healing came unexpectedly through Rachel, a 37-year-old schoolteacher he met at Mia's art fair in August. Her warm laugh and steady gaze drew him in, a contrast to Lauren's calculated charm. Rachel, divorced herself after her ex's infidelity, understood Evan's scars. Their first coffee date stretched into hours, trading stories of resilience. "You're a hell of a dad," she'd said, her hazel eyes earnest. "Mia and Lucas are lucky." Evan blushed and used to praise. Rachel's kindness wasn't a performance, it was real, grounding. By October, Rachel was a fixture in their lives. She joined family game nights, her playful banter coaxing giggles from Lucas. Mia, initially wary, warmed to her, asking Rachel to braid her hair one evening. Evan watched, a lump in his throat as Rachel's fingers worked gently, Mia's shoulders relaxing. It wasn't a replacement for Lauren, Rachel didn't try to be. She was a new light, illuminating a path Evan hadn't dared hope for. One night, as they washed dishes after pizza, Rachel touched his arm. "You're doing right by them," she said. Evan met her gaze, his guard lowering. "I'm trying," he whispered, and for the first time in months, he felt seen. Lauren's visitation weekends were a tense adjustment. She arrived promptly, her demeanor subdued, no longer the radiant exec. Mia and Lucas returned from visits quieter, but Dr. Ellis assured Evan it was normal. "They're processing," she said. "Keep their routine steady." Evan did, filling their days with hikes, library trips, and movie marathons. He logged every moment, a habit from his custody fight, ensuring no one could question his devotion. Lauren, to her credit, didn't push boundaries, but her presence was a reminder of the fracture she'd caused. One crisp November Saturday, Evan took the kids to a pumpkin patch, Rachel in tow. Lucas raced through hay bales, Mia snapping photos with a disposable camera. Rachel nudged Evan, pointing to Lucas's muddy sneakers. "He's all you," she teased. Evan grinned, his heart full. Later, as they sipped cider, Mia slipped her hand into Rachel's, a small gesture that spoke volumes. Evan caught Rachel's eye, her smile soft, and something settled in him, a certainty that this was right. That evening, back home, Evan tucked the kids into bed. Mia, clutching her teddy bear, whispered, "Is Rachel staying forever?" Evan chuckled, smoothing her hair. "We'll see, kiddo. She makes us happy, right?" Mia nodded, her eyes heavy. Lucas, already half asleep, mumbled, "She's nice." Evan kissed their foreheads, his chest tight with gratitude. They were healing, and so was he. After the kids slept, Evan and Rachel sat on the porch, wrapped in a blanket against the chill. The stars above Seattle glittered, a mirror to their wedding night with Lauren, but the memory no longer stung. Evan pulled the old ring from his pocket, kept as a reminder of lessons learned. "I'm done carrying this," he said, voice steady. Rachel's hand found his. "You don't need it," she said. "You've got us." Evan nodded, slipping the ring into a box for good. He'd sell it someday, maybe fund a trip for the kids. The future was his to shape. Monday, Jake called with final paperwork. "Divorce is official," he said. "You're free." Evan thanked him, the words sinking in. Lauren had signed, her fight drained by the evidence and her own guilt. She'd face her consequences, a tarnished career, a fractured bond with her kids, while Evan thrived. He'd won not through vengeance but through integrity, a lesson for Mia and Lucas, truth and love endure. As Evan hung up, Rachel arrived with takeout, her laughter filling the house. The kids rushed to greet her, and Evan watched, his heart steady. Lauren's betrayal had cracked their world, but Evan had rebuilt it, stronger, with room for new love. He glanced at the drawer where the ring once lay, now empty, and smiled. The past was gone, and this, his kids, Rachel, their laughter, was his redemption. A new dawn had begun, and Evan was ready to embrace it.